Italy. It's Santeri Kallio from AMORPHIS. We have a new album out, Queen of Time. It's a massive and great album. Please check it out. And you're listening Heavy Demons radio show. Stay heavy.
So, dear Santeri, what shall AMORPHIS fans expect from your new release, Queen of Time? I can hear some damn heavy riffs.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think a bigger AMORPHIS sound than ever before. That's for sure. We have made an album which is pretty megalomaniac, at least from our perspective. You know, there's big songs a lot, and complex song structures, complex arrangements here and there, and a lot of layers to build the atmosphere. And Tommy Joutsen is giving a lot of different styles vocal-wise. So basically, we are we put everything in for this album. You know, we really tried to make a big album with big songs, and we tried to avoid the weak points. And the producer is also a big friend of Megalomania. So we had a good starting point for this album, and now when the final album is out, I think it is actually what we were looking for, like a bigger sound, but still something fresh, and something new, some new directions we can go, and where we could develop, but also still keeping in mind that we are still AMORPHIS and not to lose the basic sound.
Yeah. Like in the song Daughter of Hate, we can hear a saxophone and a dramatic narration. Plus, on Queen of Time, you work with an orchestra, with a choir. How much do you like to experiment when you are composing AMORPHIS music?
Well, I don't know. It always, of course, it's a little bit depends on your mood, and you know, with Under the Red Cloud, we toured a lot. You know, we did more than 200 shows, and in between the touring, we started to compose the album, keeping in mind that Jens Bogren will be the producer again. Yeah. So basically, we knew that we can rely on his opinion, and he likes to give these kind of ideas that we could use the real choir, or we could use string orchestra here and there, and blah blah blah. And so we basically were pretty open-minded. I wouldn't say we tried to compose like totally different songs or something like this, but the band has been developing a couple of years now to the more musical direction, and we are a pretty old band. You know, we've been around like 25 years. It's good to give. We like to give the fans and to the metal scene a little bit different approach from AMORPHIS than not just. We don't want to do the same again. We couldn't have done another Under the Red Cloud, even though the album was great success and everybody seemed to love it, and we love it too. But we wanted to give something more and something to chew. You know, that it gives you more spins, and you can listen it many times, and you can still find some new things here and there, and atmospheres and arrangements and stuff like that. And but still keeping in mind that we wanted to do like a big package where there is no weak songs, and every song has its position, and every song is respected. So we tried to give a little bit new approach, and especially it really helped to know in advance that we're gonna use Jens Bogren again, because then you don't have that much restrictions in your mind when you compose the songs. You can make a more complex song like the Daughter of Hate, which the beat is nothing to do with a straight beat. But when you have a guy like Jens in charge, you can rely that he will keep the song structure still like understandable for everyone.
Yeah. And which is, in your personal opinion, the AMORPHIS past album which you feel closest to Queen of Time?
Well, of course, Under the Red Cloud is pretty close because we composed the song it's not so many years ago when we composed the songs and when we rehearsed them and we did the production. But I can hear in Queen of Time, I can hear a lot of atmospheres from the past, like a little bit Tuonela kind of style, but also, as you mentioned, the heavy riffs. I think there's also connections to the very early stuff.
Yeah.
Even though the style is totally different, but there's also like Tommy Joutsen's earlier, like Eclipse, Waters, Skyforger kind of atmospheres and styles. Also like the video song Wrong Direction. It's very so. I think this album has a lot of dimensions, from our past, and still giving something new. At least I like to think that. I hope so.
And what can you tell us about the amazing artwork by Jean Valnoir-Simulin?
Well, we sent him some lyrical ideas, before we even went. I think we didn't even have the pre-production phase. We were sending him some lyrics in English, so he can pick up some themes, and figure out like from which perspective he starts to do the art for the cover.
Yeah.
And obviously he selected pretty much the B song's lyrical context. There's a complex of cells, and there's the skull, and there's the queen bee. But it was really nice process. He sent us a couple of ideas, and then we developed. We gave some ideas back, and he developed it. And but we are really happy with the cover, and it kind of reminds me from Under the Red Cloud, even though Under the Red Cloud was more complex. There was more stuff, But on the other hand, what I like in the Queen of Time cover is that when you look at it a little bit longer or once in a week, you always find something new. Yeah. So there's also many dimensions in the album cover, and when our fans get the album in their hands, there's all the lyrics are there written. It helps a lot to put all the pieces together, I hope.
Yeah, and is there like a Morricone reference in We Are Cursed?
Morricone reference. I wouldn't say we Are Cursed. I would say Heart of the Giant, because Jens had this idea to the melody line was already there. I made it maybe half a year ago before we went to the studio, but Jens wanted to add the intro there and the choir, and I think the choir for me makes it more Morricone style, like an Italo-Western kind of style. But it's nice to hear that also in I know what you mean with We Are Cursed. Yeah, the slow, strong melody. It's very Italo-Western too. Yeah, that's the way.
And how was to work with your special guest Anneke?
Well, Anneke is nice. We didn't meet her. She did her parts in Holland. So, but we met Anneke many times in the festivals, and she appeared in our concert in 2 years ago in the summer. So, but we didn't have a chance this time to meet Anneke. It was too complicated to fly her over to middle of nowhere in Sweden. It's the country studio is in the countryside. She's professional, and we had to pretty much figure out what's her part in the song. We are really happy how she pulled it together,
You stated that a new era has begun since the songs of the new album will set new standards on stage. What shall we expect from your live shows?
Well, I don't know, because we haven't had any shows yet, but we practiced a couple of songs from the album, and I have to say they sound pretty big also live, The band is in good shape, and I think our stage presence will just get better with better songs and bigger songs. But obviously, we are going to play a lot of songs from the back catalog too, because the the fans expect that too. But we put there as many songs from the new album as we can, and so far I haven't heard any songs from the new album what we've been practicing that wouldn't work in live. Maybe the Anneke song, because we don't have a chance to take her with us every time we want, you know.
A nice comeback happened in the band because original bassist Olli Pekka Lein is with AMORPHIS again.
Exactly. Yeah, we are really happy to have an old friend, original member, great composer, great stage performer. It's very difficult to find people you want to work with after years and years and years to the future. You know, it's and we know Olli very well, and we never had any bad blood because he left the band. It was just he just wanted to quit. So there was no drama in the first place when he left, and now Niklas left, and we had a little bit stress, like holy hell, how can we find a sixth member in a band? But we got really lucky and fortunate that Olli has been really active in metal all the time. He's been releasing Barren Earth and Manhai and all these bands. So we knew that he's professional still, and he has been around all the time. So he has also like a right mood to hump on a tour, and you know, okay, the tour is 5 weeks, and he says, "Oh, nice." It's not that easy sometimes, and most of the people have not necessarily got used to a lot of touring and stuff. But we knew that Olli has done it when he was young, you know, with us. So, and everything's been a blast since he came. You know, it's been like a big family again. You know, and there was no weird transitions or problems when he joined. Everything started to run really smoothly after a couple of shows when he finally figured out how the songs go and how the band performs in a stage, and you know, how the things go. You know.
Is there something you miss or you don't miss from the 90s in comparison with the present days? I mean, musically speaking.
Well, of course, who doesn't miss 90s in an artistic way? That there was no the business wasn't there in such a big presence, you know, like everything has to be business, and the record there was a lot of indie labels, there was a lot of new fresh in the industry, you know, a lot of guys who basically were first fans, and then they started to get older, they build a business, they make a record label, they started to sign good bands, and they were like there was a big scene and stuff like this, and also the music was, because after the 80s, you know, everything went to the really smooth hard rock style, and suddenly speed and thrash metal came, and even death metal and blah blah. So there was a lot of experimental stuff, and the bands were trying their limits maybe more than nowadays. Well, I like to think that it's still there. It's just hard to reach those bands because the record labels, because the record sales are going down, they don't take risks anymore. They have to always have like a really ready band. The band has to be really ready, and everything's like perfect, you know, and it fits to some scene, you know. In the 90s, it wasn't like that, you know. I remember labels which put it out really weird kind of stuff almost every week, and it wasn't like, the scene wasn't that coherent like nowadays. But I also miss 90s because I was young then. There was no pressure of getting older.
What music are you listening at when you're not working with AMORPHIS?
Well, nowadays I try to listen a little bit like I'm not like a super progressive music fan, but of course the 70s stuff I've listened to all my life. Yeah. But I try to find some new bands, you know, like which has something more to offer than just straight on American style heavy metal or something like this, you know, like generic heavy metal. But I like to listen to some progressive stuff, which the bands which explore their musical, you know, possibilities. they try different styles and different rhythms and something like that. But unfortunately, there's not so many bands like that. So mostly I listen to old stuff, but there is some, you know.
Which is your favorite keyboard synthesizer?
Oh, keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard.
There's pretty many, and it depends on the perspective, you know. If you ask like which is the best instrument for me at the moment to play live, you know, performing wise, I really like the Nord, the Swedish company Nord, because they are so quick to change something and very quick to use. But as a studio instrument, there's a lot of possibilities. I have a lot of American analog synthesizers from David Smith Instruments. I have a couple of Rolands. I have a couple of Korgs. Then I have a Moog. Then I have some Russian analog synthesizers, Polyvox from the 80s, and one Italian also, Krumar. I have plenty of keyboards, and in a studio environment, I can use them as individuals. Like, I need this kind of sound or this kind of approach. I can select what I need. But unfortunately, with the touring band, that's really not possible. You know, to bring like 10 instruments to the stage, and it takes half of the stage, and the technical crew will go crazy with the cabling and stuff. I also have a couple of keyboards in home, and they are definitely not the keyboards I take to the shows, or not even maybe in the studio, but I just like to jam with them, you know. So but luckily in keyboard industry, the trend has turned. Like, not every company is looking for something new and trying to build something more digital. Most of the big companies are also looking to the past, you know, from the 70s and 60s, when the sound was warm. Sound was pretty easy to make, you know, and it was warm and lovely and fat, you know. I really like that trend now, that there's a lot of possibilities. You can go to the future, or you can go to the 70s when you go to the music store.
Definitely.
I hope the record industry will do the same.